Hey, welcome back to Market Chat with Brenda and Lori. I'm Brenda Alfano with the Capstone Home Loans, a mortgage advisor, and this is...
I am Lori DaSilva, real estate broker with RE/MAX Elite, specializing in residential purchases and sales.
Great. So we've had a little bit of a brief hiatus, but we are back. So this video, we want to talk about, our last video, excuse me, we talked about down payment and closing costs. This time, we want to talk about what happens after you find the house. So we're going to turn most of this over to Lori because that's going to be in her ballpark at this point. Okay. So Lori, take it away.
Okay. So yes, there are a lot of conversations and research once you find that perfect house. I love having conversations with the listing broker, actually. You can get a lot of information from them on actually what's important to the seller, which also may help when you're putting your offer in. And of course, everything is within, your parameters as a buyer, but is there something we can do with the offer? Now, a lot of the conversations I have, and I'm going to read my list so I don't forget anything, finding out what the showing activity on the property is, that will let us know how competitive the offer situation might be. So a lot of showings, possibly a lot of offers. Do you have any offers in hand? That lets us know if the agent actually has already received an offer. Again, how competitive is that home? Yes. And sometimes it depends on whether the seller wants you to know. Seller usually gives permission to give, for their agent to give out any information. So sometimes they can tell us a little bit more about that offer and sometimes they cannot. What does a seller need in a sale? Sometimes if they need a fast close, then there are conversations between the buyer's lender and to find out if that's something that we are able to do. Let's see, another thing, sometimes it's, do they want highest and best offer? Are they just looking for the highest dollar amount in an offer? Sometimes that will help us as well. So deals have been lost by not creating that relationship with the other broker. Ultimately, everybody is working together to make that deal go through. And so it's good to build that relationship. My next call is going to be to the lender, to Brenda. And why is that, Brenda?
Right. Well, number one, the big question you need to ask me, which you always do, but some people don't, is how many days do you need to close? So that question, going back to that fast close, can we do a fast close? And it's going to depend on the loan program, different factors. Luckily, my company is pretty amazing and we can do fairly quick closings, but I never want to promise until I know all the ins and outs of the situation first.
Can I say one thing about that too? Now, this is something that you always tell me, is you really don't want to overpromise and underdeliver.
Ever. Rather go, hey, we're ready to close early. Is everybody else, would they like to? Yes. Instead of like, oh goodness, we have to ask for an extension, because that puts our client into a bad position of being out of contract. And we don't ever want to do that. Never want to promise something I can't deliver. So the other question we would ask is, that we would talk about is, are they receiving a gift? Because the agent, Lori, would have to put that on the contract. Definitely. Important. Are they cashing in retirement funds? That also would have to be put on the contract, that they're getting they're waiting for funds to come in, is basically what you're having to do, right?
Yeah, and you want to be transparent in your offer so that they know exactly where you stand when you are submitting that offer.
And the agent needs to know what kind of loan program we're doing, because she has to list that on the offer as well. Yes. So that's very important. It's very interesting. If I can tell a quick little story. Sure. I just did a pre-approval letter for a client yesterday, working with an agent I've never worked with. She seems like a very nice lady. Didn't ask me any questions whatsoever. None of these questions. Right. Not how fast I could close, nothing. So I haven't seen the contract. We'll see what she put down for a closing date. And hopefully I can meet it. I'm sure I can, but it's always a little scary because I don't know I'm not part. And the point of all this is that we are working as a team for the client, not our egos, not our paycheck. It's all to make sure that the client is getting the best service and the best representation that they can get.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So next.
Yes. So before we start writing an offer, some other things that kind of happen in the background is I like to pull comparatives in the neighborhood. I want to make sure that the house is priced correctly for the market, and that sometimes that will play into what we are offering on our offer. So
can I interrupt you real quick?
Yes.
Can you kind of explain what comparative means?
So a comparative market analysis is you run a report basically for houses, similar houses within a certain parameter of the house that you plan on offering on.
And what they sold for? And
yes,
okay.
I look for things like, what did they sell for? How many days on market were they? Does the interior compare to the house that we are actually offering on? I just kind of want to know exactly what a fair price is for that property.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is the house priced right?
Yeah. Sometimes in that comparative market analysis, you might run across a home that is already pending. It had been on market, it's pending. Sometimes you can call the agent and find out what the pending price is. Also important, especially if it's very close to this subject home, then you really have an idea what the market is doing and as far as pricing. Let's see. Also, I just want to say, your agent is an option giver. We're not here to force you into a decision when you're writing your offer. You have to be very comfortable with what you're writing and within your parameters as well. We can talk about the certain addendas including in an offer, and we will tell you why it might help your offer, especially in a competitive market, but also what the risks are along with that, because there's both ends, no matter what addenda you put in your offer. And it's good that your agent explains all that.
So ultimately, it's you working for your client,
Yes.
doing the best for them, making sure they're comfortable with what you're suggesting, and they agree to what you're suggesting because they're signing a contract.
Correct.
Which is really important.
Yeah. And it's good for your agent. I mean, that's why it's so important for your agent to really know what the market is. There is a lot of research involved when you are getting ready to put in an offer, and that's where all the suggestions come from.
Great. That's why it's very important to work with a good seasoned broker. So that's it for today. Next week, next session, we're gonna talk about what happens after your offer is accepted, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. Just remember, you can always call us or email us or message us on any of the social media sites we have. If you have any questions, we're more than happy to just answer questions if that's all you need, or of course, help you further if you are into buying a home at this time.
Thank you so much.
See you next time.
Bye.